Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 5 ARs in Borderlands 4 and where to farm them. There are 17 different assault rifles that are legendary in Borderlands 4, and honestly purple ARs are also quite good. If you can find a Maliwan or a Torg assault rifle that's purple, it's going to be pretty powerful and actually stronger than some of the legendaries that I'll be showing you here. Now I will be going over some honorable mentions just at the start here, because there are some that are a little bit weird in how they work and only will work on specific builds, like the Chuck one here, which is just an assault rifle that you throw and has grenades come off it. And then we have some other ones that just have better options if you're going to go with something else. So I guess the first 4 honorable mentions we'll be going with. First is the Lumberjack. This one's actually kind of interesting in how it works. It shoots out little saw blades. They'll damage the enemy, and then 2 or 3 seconds later, it'll end up damaging the enemy again. Sometimes you can get lucky with this, and it'll end up sending the enemy flying into the air whenever it triggers the damage the second time. So that damage per second is actually kind of misleading because it does have a little bit higher DPS, and this will come as a data list there. It can come with the alt fire there, making it so that they will track on enemies for 10 seconds, which is also quite nice. Now, I did mention the Chuck assault rifle. This is a TDR, and you can go pretty hard with the TDR enhancements, which allows you to get an additional projectile. There's an enhancement that will buff this up even further, so that can be nice. And Rafa can actually utilize these pretty well too, but it is such a weird playstyle that I don't consider this a true assault rifle. You're just throwing the gun. We also got the Whiskey Foxtrot. This is an interesting one. It can actually be pretty powerful on like Harlowe, for example, as it can shoot really fast. And then we also got the Star Helix here, which shoots in either a straight line or sideways. The unfortunate part about this gun is the bullets, as you can see here, they oftentimes will miss the enemy because they spread out quite far. This is only good if you are not the best at aiming, and even so, there are better options like the one here where you can use the underbarrel. This is the Lumberjack that you can use the Lumberjack bottom part to then be able to send bullets right to the enemy. There's shields that didn't work out properly, but this will damage the enemy again. So this is kind of the cool thing about that, is you can get pretty lucky with the damage potential that you get out of this gun. So that is a nice thing from it. The big thing with this gun is the bullets you can see there will bounce off, which isn't always the best, but it can help out with hitting targets. Now, the Chuck here, as mentioned, it does pretty good damage, but you got to utilize the specific build to get the most out of it, so that's why it's not going to be on this list, because it does do quite a bit of damage here. And this is the Whiskey Foxtrot, which you can boost up and make it shoot really fast there. With the Neutron Capture from Harlowe, this damage can actually be pretty crazy, although there are some better assault rifles that fill a similar role. And then here we have the Helix again, not being very useful. So for our number 5 gun, we have the Goalkeeper here. So this is an order gun, and I don't love using the order weapons. However, I do make an exception for a couple of them because they do work a little differently. So this is a gun shield. When it's depleted, you get 50% bonus damage for 15 seconds. That's quite nice. It also can come with the Jacob's Lace, an accessory to critically hit and bounce some other targets. What's great about that is it's a charge up weapon, so you can actually hit 5 headshots, have them all ping off to multiple enemies, and it's got the ability to get an alt fire missile launcher, which is kind of nice too. So the damage potential is really good on this gun. You can also get really lucky and get one that's going to use sniper rifle ammo. So you can see there, you can use the secondary fire to consume it. Sniper ammo, so you can get a little bit of a different role on this weapon. And then it's got the shield here. You're going to charge up your shots and then let fire. The nice thing is they will chain around to multiple enemies, so you can get pretty good damage off on this. And then whenever your shield breaks, you do deal that extra damage. Another nice thing with order guns is you can just rapidly press your fire button down, so you can shoot it like a normal gun a little bit there, which does work a bit. And it's also quite accurate from hip fire, so that's a nice thing. As you see there, I was just peppering away with that left click. The damage is actually pretty good from this gun. I think this is one that people underrate because the order guns are not that fun to use, and I'll be honest with that. But you see that 50% damage boost when the shield goes down is nice. Having the shield is quite useful too, but it's not going to be any higher than number 5 because we do have some others that do a little bit more damage or have a bit of a better game style to play with. So this one, despite having very high damage and the potential to also get a sniper rifle bullet, and also the Seekers here, which you can shoot off to do a bit of extra damage. You see, boom, takes enemies out pretty quickly. And if you got like the Bullet Buddy Deluxe from Rafa, you can actually do pretty crazy damage with this. The ability to charge up 5 headshots and release them all at once is pretty nice, but the damage isn't as high as some of the other guns here, so that's why we're not going to have this any higher. Now, if you want to get yourself a Goalkeeper for yourself, you do have to come to the Dominion location here, and it's going to be close to the Hydra Sublab, and you're going to come over and you're going to do the Vile Ted in the Experiments fight here. This is where you can farm it. There is a Moxie Encore here, which you can do. And the boss fight is relatively easy, so this one shouldn't take you too much time, and you'll be able to get yourself your own Goalkeeper. So we're going from a gun with 2,000 or higher damage on a single bullet to a gun here that has only 400 with Lucian's Flank. Now, where Lucian's Flank is actually very successful is the trample there. So critical hits will refill 2 ammo to the gun's magazine. This is just free ammo. It doesn't take it from your reserves, so that's extremely powerful. It also comes with the alt fire, additional fire speed barrel, so you can shoot even quicker. And that's kind of what is great about this weapon. There's specific builds that work very well with this. And you can also get the Jacob's License accessories. Those critical hits that restore your ammo will also chain to multiple enemies. Now, this gun is best utilized on Harlowe, and I'm using it on Vex here. This is just going to be using some normal build. Doesn't really work well with her, but it does have like a radiation roll, and you can get fire, lightning, or shock, or cryo on it. So it works for Amon as well really well. But the reason that it's not going to get very much higher on this list than 4th place is because the damage is so pitiful. But there are ways to really buff this up. So you can see there, it is chaining to multiple enemies, but we're just tickling this boss. It's not doing a single thing towards it. The nice thing is, though, you can see there, we basically kept refunding our own ammo there. You can go with the double barrel and they'll shoot a lot faster. And then it also does chain around to multiple enemies, which is quite nice. But the damage from this is very lackluster, and that's why it's not going to go any higher. However, I mentioned that you can boost this up even further, and that's if you got, like, if you have Harlowe, she really utilizes this weapon very well, because with her, you can use her Neutron Capture, which will add her action skill 4% of that damage that she deals to every single enemy on her action skill, to every single bullet. So you can get like a crap ton of damage off on a fast firing gun like this, and then literally shred bosses down in seconds. So that would be the best utilization of Lucian's Flank. Harlowe really likes this gun just for that fast fire rate and getting the ammo back. If there's any other builds that you're utilizing, like there is some others that work with a fast fire rate, like Rafa with his Bullet Buddy Deluxe actually works really well with this, despite this one giving you ammo back. It doesn't work properly with the critical hit knife. As you can see here, we're still losing ammo even though we're using the crit knife. So it is a little bit nerfed, but you can see there on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, we're not doing much damage, so that's what prevents from going higher. And to farm yourself a Lucian's Flank, you're going to come over here to the Meathead Riders, Moxie's Encore, and this is just going to be right in this section here. You'll fight this boss repeated till you find one. It can also drop from really any loot source too. As for our 3rd place, I feel like most people would expect this on here because this has the best underbarrel attachment or alt fire in the game with the space laser. So you can call it a space laser that does 17k damage. I've seen them up higher in 20k, high 20ks, almost 30k. Insane damage. There's also a really cool application because that counts as a single bullet fire. So it benefits from things that increase the damage of your next shot. Like Amp here, you can even get some other buffs off of different classes that boost up damage, and making this super powerful. Like even Vex, she actually has a really good skill tree here where you can get the bloodshot there after using a rep kit, and then it'll do additional kinetic damage off the attack, which becomes absolutely insane because it is kinetic damage. So it also has 50% boost to its damage on the first half of the magazine, which is great. Again, Rafa with his ability to get the infinite ammo on the Bullet Buddy Deluxe, or if you're using Vex, she also has the witchy trigger finger here, which can give you your bullets back. So that's really nice if you want to keep refreshing the ammo on this gun to make sure you get that 50% boost to damage. It also has a Hyperion shield. You can get this also with a fire version. The fire version is not as good. I wouldn't actually recommend it. So it can drop a fire hazard, which does 8,923 damage. It can go higher than that, but the fire damage isn't as high as this one here. So it is, hazards in this game kind of suck. However, this one is a lot better. Now looking into actually utilizing the gun, so the best thing is to use the space laser on a boss that's got a ton of health that you're trying to take down. So if there's an enemy that you really want to just delete, you put it into the second fire with your amp there, and then you drop this down, boom, and it just deletes everything in its path. You can see there, they're gone. It's so strong in how it works. And it's also a pretty fun gun too. It does have that benefit whenever you shoot the first 22 or so bullets in this magazine, it gets extra damage, which is nice. It does have to charge up its fire speed, but the damage itself is quite nice, so that actually gets us some benefit there. The cooldown on the space laser is like 30 or 45 seconds, so it is a little bit later before you're able to use it again. But the damage from this gun itself is quite nice, and you would just obviously swap to something else. But it's not going to be any higher than 3rd place because it's really, you really just have to utilize that ability to do the massive damage on that attack there from the space laser. And to farm yourself your own Oscar mic, it's going to be at the Gen 1 or Genome here, Big Encore. And this one is a pretty easy, straightforward one, and it's worth doing because it is relatively quick and fast. In our 2nd place here, we have the G.M.R, which is my favorite order weapon because it does not act like the other order weapons, like this one here, we had to charge it up. This one fires fast, kind of like the doll guns of the previous game. So it's nice because it's just your traditional assault rifle. However, when zoomed in, damage increases by 100%, shock increases by 100%, and your fire rate decreases. So the damage increases quite a bit if you aim down your sight. You don't have to though. And this basically just effectively doubles the bullet damage and applies extra benefits from that. You can also get the Jacob's license accessory on this, which takes this up a whole nother level. So this, compared to a lot of other guns, they can't keep up with the amount of damage that you can output with the G.M.R. because it's just a really easy to use gun. So pulling this out here, you can see the damage from this is pretty good. And then if you're to pull out the scope there, it shoots a lot slower, but your damage is cranked up quite a bit. So this can be nice, especially if you use the amp. Now, this is in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, so some bosses have a lot of damage, and I'm not using a min-max. I didn't want to make any builds super overpowered for this, so I could actually show off the true power of these guns. But you can see here, it actually does quite a bit of damage, and it's a really good to auto-fire because it actually has great aim and handling, so you don't have to worry too much about missing your shots. It's a really easy gun to use, and again, doesn't work like other order guns where it just automatically fires, so that can be some pretty great DPS. If you want, you can aim down your sights, get a lot more accurate, and also get that huge boost to the damage, but lowering your fire rate. This also works great on Rafa as well with his infinite ammo because you can double up your shot damage with that. So overall, it's actually a really powerful weapon, and that's why I think it belongs in the second place here. To get a G.M.R, we're going to come to the driller hole here. It's currently the big encore. So this fight is actually very easy. One of my favorites just to farm. So this is nice. You can also get Katagawa's Revenge here. And in our first place here is the wombo combo, named after a Smash Brothers technique. This is an awesome gun. You probably expected this to be here. I got one on my first playthrough. It was amazing because it just shredded down bosses, and even when it was like 10 levels lower than the enemies I was fighting, it still put in work. The reason being, it shoots rockets automatically, and these become pretty powerful. I have a radiation one here. You can get it in fire, you can get it in cryo, you can get it in corrosive. I had a corrosive one in my first playthrough, and it's beautiful for the rocket bosses. Now, one other thing that makes this gun so powerful is the fact that it shoots those rockets. So, splash damage in Borderlands is really good, especially against some of the more annoying enemies in the game, the vile ones that have the crystals on them that you have to shoot and destroy. That can sometimes be really difficult when it's a small little area that you have to destroy on an enemy. This is where this gun comes in handy because you can just fire it at their body. The splash damage will take care of their crystals for you. So this counters one of the worst enemy types in the entire Borderlands to fight, which is amazing. I just like this gun because those rockets are pretty funny. Be careful, you can make yourself take damage, so at close range you may want to be careful with that. And the rockets, another thing about them is they're great with Vex because they count as ballistic damage. They don't count as an elemental damage type like the gun does. So this one, it shoots corrosive damage. Doesn't work for a lot of Vex abilities, whereas the ballistic damage from the rockets, it's a little different how it works. So yeah, this one's great against, it's great against bosses, it's great against mobs. This gun is a really fun one to use, especially if you got the ability to do infinite ammo because it just shoots so fast and those rockets will just keep on firing as long as you're holding down the trigger. So it can be a really good one. You don't have to think too much while using this because it's just going to splash damage and take out the enemies just like that. So yeah, especially with a elemental damage type like fire or corrosive, this can be an absolute shredder. Radiation's also good too because of that huge splash you can get off it, and then Harlowe can really benefit from this. This is another weapon that Harlowe really utilizes well with her Neutron Capture, adding her action skill damage onto the bullets. So if you're running Harlowe, you can try this, and a few of the other previous ones actually work great as well, like Lucian's Flank for Harlowe, but this one's great too because you get all those rockets as well, and the rockets do pretty solid damage overall, destroying vile enemies fast. It's just an absolute blast to use, and it doesn't take a whole lot of skill. You can get some, you can use the aim down sights there if you wanted to get a little bit more accurate, but since it's got all that splash there, it's really just best utilized as a just spray and pray type gun. Obviously paired with things like the critical hit knife, give it a nice boost too, because then you can get your rocket damage to splash, deal crits, and all that kind of stuff. But you see it there, it shreds down bosses pretty quickly. It's good against every single encounter in the game, and I ran out of ammo because it shoots really quickly. So, and finally, to find the wombo combo, you got to go fight the Rippa Roadbirds here at the Saw's Clench Ripper Drill site. So this is a really easy one. There's 3 enemies, so this actually gives you an increased chance of getting it because you can fight 3 different bosses all in one quick succession here. So this is how to find the wombo combo. Let me know your favorite gun in Borderlands 4. I really like the wombo combo here. And hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.